Welcome to the From My Stand podcast with Matt Hinkle. Whether you are an avid hunter, a novice, or someone interested in the sport, Matt has a unique perspective to share. Sit back, relax, and kick your boots up as Matt shares what he's seeing from his stand.
Hi friends, thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and today we're going to be working with a Henry Big Boy 357 lever action rifle. We're going to disassemble the bolt and show you how to clean the bore of this rifle. So this is season 2. In season 2, we're talking about the year in the life of a hunter. And right now it's springtime. And we're going to be turkey hunting in just a few weeks. We're about a month away from turkeys here in Ohio, and I've got some really exciting episodes coming up. We're going to be doing a full-blown interview with a very successful turkey hunter here in a couple of weeks and doing some other really exciting things. But the question is, what should a hunter be doing in the spring? What should we be doing in the off-season? Well, one of the things we should be doing is taking care of our equipment, things like cleaning guns, tuning bows and arrows, fixing or replacing broken, worn equipment, things like that. Now, a lot of people ask, how do I clean a rifle like this? In a bolt action rifle, you simply take the bolt out, and then you've got free access to down the entire bore out to the muzzle. But what do you do on these guns? On a lever action, the chamber is exposed when you open the lever, and a lot of people use what's called a bore snake. And that is a cleaning patch that's on a rope of some type that you fish through the bore and you kind of pull it through with a rope. Now, those work good. A lot of rifles are clean that way. But my favorite way is to disassemble the action, take the bolt out, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So the first thing that we want to do is safety first. We want to make sure that everything on this gun is safe. I'm going to open the chamber. I see that there is nothing in the chamber. And let me see if I can take this magazine out. I'm going to take the whole magazine out. And again, it is just a matter of safety. So now I'm going to have to position the gun to where the bottom of it is facing me. But let's go ahead and take this apart. Now, when you're dealing with fine rifles like this, it is a good idea to have good tools. If I were you, I would invest in a good screwdriver set and things that, Torx sets and things like that, because you don't want to damage these screws. You don't want to scratch the receiver of your rifle all up. You don't want to tear the wood up. You don't want to tear the screws up. I like Wheeler. I've got a Wheeler torque wrench. Now, I don't really need the torque feature today because this screw is essentially, once it stops, you stop turning it, okay? It's a shouldered screw, and so you don't really put any torque on it. But what you do with a rifle like this, and let me see if I can get our camera in here. You want to open the action, take a little bit of tension off, work the lever back, and then it is this screw right here that we're interested in. So I'm going to put my screwdriver in there. And again, you want to be really careful. You don't want to tear up this brass. You don't want to tear up your screw. Take your time, and any time you're working on a firearm, you just want to take your time because you don't want to scratch these things up and beat them up. So we're going to take that screw all the way out, and it should come out by hand now. And you can see that it is it's a shouldered screw, fine thread. Okay, and I'm just going to put that over there. You always want to be careful when you're working with guns not to lose your hardware. When you take that screw out, watch, the lever will just come right out. It's going to make a liar out of me. It should just come right out, and it did. Okay, so there's the lever. I'm going to put that right there. Now the bolt, I'm going to have to wrestle it a little bit. This one here, it can be a little bit stubborn, so you just kind of take the hammer down and you just kind of force it out. And that's your bolt. Now, here's really an important tip. When you're disassembling a gun, make sure you pay attention to how it came apart so that you put it in the right way. This is the rear of the bolt, and you want that angle going up. And then this hammer closes right there, and there's your firing pin. So you just don't want to lose track of the orientation of that bolt. So I'm just going to set that right there. Now there's like an ejection pin, or it's a spring. It's like an ejection spring or a retention spring, something like, I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but it has to come out as well. And you just kind of pour it out of the chamber. It just sits in there. That's all it does. And it looks like that. That's what that little pin looks like, okay? And then it just falls out, and then you're just going to set it back in when you reassemble the rifle. Now, I want to see if I can get this on camera. We are not going to clean the bore of this rifle tonight. I have already cleaned it, and if you want detailed information on cleaning the bore of a rifle, go to our very first weekly extra, where it says Gun Range Day Weekly Extra. Go to that episode, and I do a full thing on how to clean the barrel. We're not going to do that tonight on this rifle because it's already clean. Now, I'm going to give you some tips on how to keep the brass clean because that's a little bit of an unusual issue with a gun. But I want to show you something. Now that we have these components out, and I'm going to see if the camera can get this, but you can see right down the barrel. Is that picking up on that camera? Can you tell? I got a good cameraman tonight. Okay. So the whole bore and muzzle is exposed. And so now if you were cleaning this gun, and I would have it turned like this if I were cleaning it, you could put your cleaning rod right through the barrel from back to the end of the muzzle, just like you would with a bolt action rifle. I just really feel like you can get them really clean. Like always, make sure that you have the right size stuff. This is a Henry Big Boy in 357. Now, it will also shoot 38 special, but I've got the Pro Shot 38 special 357 brass jag. Anytime you get a gun, you always want to have the jag, the correct size for the gun. I've also got the brass wire brush. Very important to have that. You can get these things really clean. You can clean them with a bore snake. I've done it before. It's no problem. But if you really want to get them clean and run that brush out the end of the muzzle, you're going to want to take the bolt out. And so we've just showed you how to disassemble that. Now, let's reassemble it. It's not real hard. It does take a little bit of patience, and you got to be careful with everything, but it's not really hard. I do want to say at this point, though, and you'll hear me talk about this on this channel quite a bit, I really think the key to a gun's performance and just a gun lasting for a long time is keeping it clean. If you don't keep your gun clean, I can tell you this right now, it doesn't matter how great your hand loads are, or if you buy the most expensive factory ammo, you can put the best scope on it. If you don't keep it clean, it's not going to perform the way it's supposed to, and it's not going to last as long as it would if you kept it clean. So keeping guns clean is that you're just going to hear me preach about that a lot because I just feel so strongly about it. All right. So it's been a little while since I've taken this gun apart, but step one is this little spring, it just sits in there. You set it down, and then you just push it back, and it literally just falls in. There, it's in. That's all you do. Then you take the bolt. Again, make sure you don't have the bolt backwards. Make sure you don't have the bolt upside down, anything like that. I know I don't. I've got it right. Now, this can be a little bit, it just might take a little bit of patience. You got to push on it, but you want to be careful not to feel like you're just putting unnatural pressure on things. They should go in without too much of a fight. And there we go. All right, so it's started. Now what you're going to do is make sure it doesn't push that pin out of place. Oh, and it did. See, I've done this a bunch, but it still is tricky. Okay. Problem with me is my eyes are getting worse and worse. Okay, let's try it again. I'm going to put that pin. This is pushed way back, so it's not interfering with the pin. Okay, the pin just dropped. Spring just dropped. Just kind of push till everything goes. This is the hard part. You got to get it past that spring, and it is not wanting to go. So when you find, I'm glad this happened because it will happen. When it does, the best thing to do is just start over. I don't mind that this happened because I'm trying to show you that in all reality, this is a little bit of a tricky process. And so you're seeing here that it, you got to be kind of patient. Make sure everything let's see here. Okay, that is started. Okay. This pin is the real tough part of this. Okay, I think it's in there. The key, the hard part is you put the spring in first. You have to kind of hold it with your index finger, and then you have to push the bolt in without it pushing the spring out. Now I have it. It just went. It took a couple of tries. I had to kind of start over. I'm actually kind of glad that you saw that because it shows how this can be sometimes. Okay, so your spring is in, your bolt is in. You don't want to close your bolt all the way. You're going to close your bolt about halfway. Okay? Then you fish the lever mechanism back, and you want it to catch the bolt, and all I can say is you just kind of feel it when it happens. Again, this is all takes a great deal of patience, but it is worth it because it will keep your gun cleaner in the long run. Let's see here. Let's see. Try again. There. It has caught. I can feel it. We'll put that little shouldered screw back in. I'm going to take my Wheeler fat wrench. And when you're putting this screw in, when it stops, you're done. You don't torque this down. It stopped, we're done. Now if you did everything right, the action is going to work. Let's see if it does, okay? We know the gun is empty. You never want to mess around with a trigger and an action with a gun in the house unless you know for sure it's empty, and we do. So I'm going to rack. The bolt comes back. It pushes the hammer back. The little ejection spring is in place. Close it. It's cocked. It's ready to go. I'm not going to dry fire it, but I'm going to let the pressure off the trigger. And everything's working good. We got ourselves a functioning gun. All right, I am going to put the magazine tube back in. And there you go. Now, I do want to show you one thing real quick about how to take care of these kind of rifles. A lot of people, especially in the state I live in, Ohio, a lot of people use guns like this because we're a straight wall rifle state. In Ohio, you can use a shotgun slug or a straight wall rifle. This gun would be legal to hunt deer with in Ohio, so a lot of people use them, and they can be great rifles. This brass, you want to take care of it. I use this stuff called Brasso. You can get it at Lowe's, you can get it at Home Depot, and all you're doing with this, it's like a polish, okay? I just put, well, first of all, shake it up. And then I just put a little dab on a microfiber, very soft cloth towel. Let's get some brass exposed. And then we're just going to just use little circular motions. And, you know, you're just putting that polish. Try to keep it off the wood. You're just putting that polish on the brass. And little circular motions. If you're on one of our listening platforms today, this episode, a lot of our episodes are very visual, and so I would encourage you, if you're listening, you know, to switch to one of our visual platforms so you can see what we're doing. Okay, now I've got the polish on there. I'm not going to do this whole, I'll do the rest of it off camera, but I just want to show you an example. Then you have a separate towel. Again, these are just soft cloth microfiber. They work good for me. There's probably other things you can use as well. But you're just going to take this and I let the polish sit. If I wasn't on camera, I'd probably let it sit a little bit longer, but you get the idea. It kind of gets a cloudy look to it when it's done. And once it gets there, I would probably let it go a little bit more if we weren't on camera, but I'm going to just show you for demonstration's sake. I just do the exact same motion I did to apply it to buff it off. Just circular. See that? Can you see that on the camera? See how we're buffing all that off of there? And you're left with a pretty good shine on that brass. And then I'll take it, you know, and just kind of give it one of those things, you know, because again, you're going to be doing both sides. You're going to be doing the little forearm collar, the forestock collar there. You're going to get all of it. But, you know, that'll get the fingerprints off of it. If you've had the gun out hunting or out shooting, it's going to have fingerprints. It might get a little tarnished look to it. And I try not to store. Oh, don't forget about the butt plate. You're going to want to do that brass as well. You don't want to put them away long-term storage with tarnish or fingerprints. If you're hunting, blood, things like that, you know, you're going to want to get it all as clean as you can, prettied up, polished, and back in the safe or up on the wall or in the cabinet or whatever you do with it. But the point I'm making today is in the year in the life of a hunter, in the springtime, it's a great time to take care of your equipment. Take care of your equipment and it'll take care of you. We've looked today at how to disassemble and clean the bore of a Henry Big Boy 357 lever action rifle. I hope this has been helpful to you in some way. Again, the biggest thing is you use good tools that fit the screws so you don't scratch everything up, and then just be patient. You saw how I had to mess with it. You almost need three hands. You need a hand for the hammer, a hand for the bolt, and a hand for the spring. But if you're patient, you can do it. You might need a flashlight. It didn't get to that point today, but sometimes you need a flashlight to kind of see what you're doing. But anyway, take care of your guns. We ask a lot out of them. We demand a lot out of them. And if you take care of them, they will certainly take care of you. I hope you're having a great spring. I hope you're out getting ready for turkey season. And of course, we're doing all this sort of things to get ready for the upcoming fall and the upcoming deer season. So check on that equipment this spring. That's what you do in the life of a deer hunter at this time of the year. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's helped in some way. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and that's how I see it from my stand.
Thank you for listening today. Be sure to tell your buddies and follow us on your favorite podcasting platforms. Y'all take care.